All of the predictions today are based upon questions that you've sent in. So this has come in particularly through the patrons and through the YouTube members, but also some of the ones that I put on the posts. So always keep an eye open for the posts and put your questions when you see one pop up, or if you're a member or you're a patron, always keep sending me your questions because they're very inspiring and they help me to make a good program. President Xi Jinping did not look well at the military parade. I think he has to fight hard to stay in power. What do you see here? Okay, there's another question from one of the patrons. I've mentioned a bit about China already in the main video here, but I sense that Xi Jinping has an underlying health condition. And it's something quite serious that has been kept at bay for a while. It's something like cancer. It could be prostate or something like that. Something that's a slow acting cancer that can be dealt with up to a point. But I feel that he's got a hidden illness. And many of the people that are surrounding him know of this and are circulating him like vultures smelling the corpse. I also think that Putin also masks a health condition. He obviously keeps himself extremely fit with all his exercises that he does. It goes far too far sometimes, riding around in horses and carrying machine guns and so forth. But I think there's also something with him. I think he has a heart issue of some sort, and that might be a trigger for future things. You think about it, if Xi Jinping was gone and Putin was gone, although horrible forces would probably replace them, at the moment that's absolutely at their height of their power, aren't they? But I think they've got very subtle enemies, both of them, who are even now, as we speak, trying to undermine him. It's very hard at the moment because there's a nationalistic sense of pride in China. And there should be a sense of pride in China also for the huge achievements that they're making, apart from the damage to the West, but they are making pretty huge achievements, and are very intelligent and brilliant people. But imagine them with democracy, where they could go. But there's some dangerous things going on in the background there, a more dangerous weaponry there than I think there's been on display. And I think this is, although this is a shake of the fist at Trump's tariffs and the American dominance of the world, I do feel that there's underlying weakness there. And also, when you come to these powers, you can make all these displays, but the Chinese have never actually been in full combat in a war. How would those military marches and displays of almost dance-like military displays, how would they fare in a military conflict? Let's pray to God it never happens. But at the moment, we have 2 or 3 very dominant totalitarian type figures there. But I'm often reminded when I see these things of what Gandhi said about these things. He said, when I despair, I remember that all through history, the ways of truth and love have always won. There have been tyrants and murderers, and for a time they can seem invincible, but in the end, they always fall. Think of it, always. Now, I think, could you fault Gandhi with what he said there? And in other things, in other quotes he said too, he said, but, the tyrants fall. But he also pointed to how India persisted through centuries and actually managed to keep its values throughout, even through invasions and the damage that was done by the Mughals, the damage that was done by the British and the rest of us. The right values, things persist. So it's very important, just like he said also, we've got to change the heart, not just change the political agenda. So my prediction on this one, for your question, is that before the end of 2026, Xi Jinping will have been removed from power. Well, thanks for all your questions. Some brilliant ones there, and I could only cover a few of them. So do keep sending them in, because there were some brilliant ones in there today, and very well thought out, and so many others that I'd love to cover, and I will try to cover some more of those. But do keep sending them in. If you're on the public, you'll see I'll occasionally put up a post asking for questions, and I can take some of the questions from there. If you've don't if your question don't get asked the first time, just keep posting, please, and you'll find that eventually I'll hopefully get round to yours. As I know there's so many issues I'd like to be able to cover. And don't forget also, if you're here for the first time, don't forget to subscribe, because I'm going to put some more videos up like this, lots more coming up. And always give us that thumbs up. Don't forget to give us that thumbs up. So thanks for your questions today, and make a comment now. What do you think? What's your opinion about some of these things that have come up in the question section of the video today? Really interesting things there. What do you think? Where's it all going to go? What's going to happen? There's so many things. So your comments are very important. Now, don't forget, I'm also been working on this AI, and I've created an oracle. And I'm working on that oracle, and it will answer your questions. So if you'd like to go on the list to be one of the first to use it, please do see the link in the description, because that is something that I think you would thoroughly enjoy. So that's it for this week, guys. Thank you for joining Coffee with Craig. Go and get your Coffee with Craig mug, perhaps, and join me for a sip of coffee, which I don't often do on the show, do I? But anyway, thank you. Next time, we've got some interesting stuff coming up. I'm looking again into the Naadis, and I've got a funny feeling there's something interesting there that I'm going to be able to show you next week. Something that seems to suggest that there could be a golden age about to be born. And maybe there are people here that might facilitate that in the future. So anyway, see you soon. See you next time. Bye for now. If you look back at my earlier predictions, and in particular the predictions I made on the newspaper, the Sun's website, I did actually say on there, the actual words were, there will be a flu epidemic linked to bioterrorism. And my thoughts are that Liz Truss will make it to the final, be the next PM. I think she will actually have a final battle between her and Rishi Sunak. We've not seen the full end of Boris Johnson either, I tell you. But Rishi Sunak actually will eventually, I feel, be the next leader of the Conservatives. So I think there's going to be a few conflicts that Britain's going to be drawn into, including I think Russia is going to take some moves against Ukraine. I think she will make it past her platinum jubilee, which comes up this year. But I think after that, we'll see a sudden and quick deterioration in the Queen's health. And I think we might lose the Queen towards the end of 2022. There's going to be a huge backlash from over the Netflix programs and screening, because I feel it comes out at a bad time. Charles will come to become King Charles, but his reign, I feel, will be short. I said that Prince Charles would be hit by an egg. And of course, there it is, all in the press today. Marvellous person she is. She does something extraordinary that could even put her life a little bit at risk with the way she did this. Okay. Is there something also there that's not been spoken about fully? Did they also discover something with Kate? that wasn't quite right. A huge swarm of people knocking the doors of Europe and America. And I feel that Ukraine conflict is going to be a kind of a grinding conflict that goes on and on. I also feel that there's something going to happen in the Middle East as well. I feel as if there's going to be a sudden and unexpected thing happen in the Middle East. So I feel they're going to take it into their own hands, and I feel we're going to get a strike from Israel. This is going to be one of the significant things in 2023. I've said it before and I say it again. I feel Israel, with the help from the USA, will strike the Iranian nuclear facilities. I said that there would be an earthquake that would shake New York. At this time, I've been sensing that for a while that there's going to be a big earthquake of some sort. And this could well come up during April period. I'm seeing a bridge collapsing, actually the whole infrastructure of it going. I predict something very dark happens to President Joe Biden. He's been pulled from power, sacked, as it were, and quite close to the election time. But I kind of sense it's more to do with illness, perhaps, senility, and people stopping him because of that. So it could even be that a new candidate will run for the presidential nominee. I predict that Trump will win the November 2024 election. And I feel very strongly that the black vote is going to move towards Trump. See him as a sort of a bit of a cool guy. I can't see Trump being put in jail despite what they're throwing at him. I can't see a jail sentence with him. But I get the feeling one of the candidates has an attempt on the candidate's life. Could there have been a plan to assassinate either him or Trump, perhaps? There's going to be an assassination attempt on Trump, I think. That will fail, but he might maybe get wounded or something like that. A hit or attack on our airplanes, on passenger flights or even freight flights. Because I also had at a similar time, I was also seeing this image of helicopters on fire as well. I seem to see like the west of America on fire and the east of America underwater, huge winds. And I actually saw, just like we had a major problem here in the UK where a tower block went up on fire, I see a tower block deserted. In Sweden, I saw Stockholm, and I saw the ship there. I think it's called Vasa, and I felt as if there was an attempt to try to set that boat on fire. And there will be mass layoffs. He's going to do to the government what he did to X, which is basically, let's pretty much sack everybody and let's re-employ those that are any good. I feel that Musk and Trump ultimately fall out. So I predict that they'll have a major fallout in the end. And more government control in cryptocurrencies. And, you know, I saw this image as well of the Eiffel Tower against the backdrop of burning Paris. Is there a big fire in Paris? That this year I saw big earthquake coming. Now, could that be coming soon? Could that be also coming soon on top of this? Because that was what I was seeing before. And you know, like I say, like that Santa Monica where I thought the pier was going up on fire, that was obviously symbolic perhaps of Santa Monica going up on fire, because the fires are right on the doorstep of Santa Monica, is that there's going to be a major earthquake around both sides of the Pacific Rim. But it is like that. I felt as if there was something, a big plate move that affected right over from America to Japan.